Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. We're back in the garage today. This weather's, although it's beautiful and sunny outside, it was snow on the ground this morning and it was actually pretty icy out there as well, so it's not really a day to take the bike out, unfortunately. So I'm not going to waste today. We're going to do another wee bit of work on the wee bike today. And I suppose it's also confession time. I've not been very kind to this wee bike in the time I've had it. Well, to one particular part anyway, the back chain. It's in a pretty poor state. It's pretty rusty and it's got a lot of tight spots on it. There's definitely some sharp-eyed viewers of the channel. Some old fellas who, in some of the other videos, have picked up on it and commented saying, "Oh, I see a few tight spots in your chain there, you're not looking after it." Well, I'm going to address that today. And I've got a brand new DID X-ring chain to fit to the bike. I'm not spoiling it too much, it's just basically the standard chain. I haven't gone for the gold chain because I don't want to put too much value in the bike. Make it more liable to be stolen because look at that, it's got a gold chain. So that's basically what we're going to do today. We're going to fit the DID chain to the bike. In the previous videos we had set it up for the wee mini GS adventure. That's not going to happen for a few months yet, so I've taken all those parts off the bike and I've reverted it back to standard and just put the wee SW Motec bags back on, which are great. And the mountings are really neat. Unfortunately, the only bit I don't quite like about it is I've got to really put the pillion seat back on. Because I don't really like it looking with the GV top plate, it doesn't look too good. So this setup is really nice actually, it fits in perfectly, it looks really, really good. But I still like to run with the wee kind of bobber look, so I'm toying with ideas for that to maybe see how I can find a way of taking the pillion pad off. But that'll be for a later video, if it happens at all. So anyway, before we start, I've slackened off the axle bolt, I've slackened off all the adjusters as you can see, and I've moved the wheel far forward, so the chain is really slack now. I put a wee mark on the chain so I've basically so I can count the links. So I've counted the links in the chain and there are, including the joining link, there is 52 links in the standard chain. And it's a standard chain, it's going back on, and I've measured that chain, and it's 52 links. So the chain that I've got is a perfect size for it. So the first thing I've got to do is basically I've got to remove this chain here. So what I'm going to do is this is what the one I'm going to take off, the one that's got a wee mark in it down here. See that? Okay. I've got a chain tool, but I don't want to drive the pins off so the way they are, so I'm going to have to cut the tops off those pins. And what I'm going to use to cut those wee heads off, that is my wee Dremel with a metal cutting wheel. Under the safety glasses, just in case I don't want bits of shrapnel in my eyes. So now, basically, we spin this down below here to get into that position there. So what I've have here is a chain tool to remove the pin. And it's a copy of the genuine DID one, which is very good quality, which I purchased from M&P a while back. So yeah, so that's what we're going to use. Basically, it splits off, it goes round the chain, and it has a wee pin here, which slots into the tool, and that screws up, and that will just drive that pin out of the chain and split the chain. On the top of the unit, there's got an A and a B mark. For removing the pin, we set it onto A, and that will drive the pin straight out through the chain, and it'll exit through the hole in the back here. Put this on here. because that's the pin we want to drive out, and that's in, you can feel it clicking onto the chain in the back, so it's not moving. That's locked on nicely. And we want to put this part on and have it up to position A, and then basically screw this in till it touches, like so. It's important to make sure that it's a dead level, that it's purely engaged at the back of the chain, and the pin is going to sit and drive the existing pin out. So that's it, ready to go. At this point you need a couple of spanners, a big 27mm spanner which goes on here, and a 19mm spanner on here. So basically if we start turning this, that should, in theory, start driving the pin out, which it is doing because I can feel it going in. It's pushing the pin out the other side. Yeah, I can feel it going easy now, it's definitely driving it out. And I feel it going loose now. So it's really loose now. Basically the chain is split, because there's the wee pin that just fell out the bottom, that I've just driven out of the chain. Unscrew this here, split the tool, and take it off. And that's it. That's the chain split. It's as easy as that. Really, really easy. And because I used the Dremel to cut the top off that wee link, it just hasn't damaged that pin at all. So what you could do at this stage, I mean, I've taken off the chain guard, and I've also taken off the front sprocket cover, because I'll give it a wee bit of a clean before I put it on. Basically what you could do at this stage is to take your new chain and put the new chain on the back of the sprocket and offer it up. And maybe with a couple of small cable tie, you could put a cable tie through this link here and bring it through and attach these together. And what you could then do is you could use the old chain to pull the new chain into position. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop the chain off without attaching the new one at this stage. So I'll just basically drop it off. And when you finish with your sweeties at Christmas time, you can put your old chain in it. So that's the chain off. So at this stage I'm going to give it a wee clean up, and I'll basically come back to you at that point. So I'm going to stop the video at the moment, clean these up, and then we'll continue. Over here, we've got the new X-ring chain, which is lovely. And again, the parts that are needed is the wee connecting link and the wee plate here and the X-rings that go onto it. So I've got the new chain, stick it onto the sprockets, and it fits just nice. And if I had the old chain on, this is what you could have done, was to use the old chain to pull the new one in. I thought it was too short there. And I counted it, I knew it was exactly the same number of links. Yeah, it's plenty. The wheel had moved back slightly. So that's basically the chain now onto the sprocket. So that's the chain in place. What we want to do now is to add some lubrication. And the chains come with wee packs of chain lube. And there's enough there to definitely to lube up the chain. Basically put some lube onto this connecting plate. Give it a good coating. Because once this chain's in there, it's in for life. That's what the O-rings are for. They seal the internal grease, so nothing can actually get in. So when you're lubing your chain, you're not actually lubing these pins. And then get some of the X-rings and give them a good lubing up as well. Just give them a good smear of grease and put an O-ring on that side, and an O-ring on that side. Make sure it's all nicely greased up. Make sure don't get any dirt in there. So now that's ready to basically offer up to the chain, and we basically slip that in to the chain on the bike. So that's it now on through the chain. So on this side, again, we want to give these O-rings a good smearing on this side here. Also, these O-rings, give them a good coating. And again, you could put an O-ring on there. You just use up all the grease, because that's what it's for. You bet with too much and too little. Again, give that a good smearing up. And put that one on as well, onto the 2 pins. And give the plate a grease up as well. What you can then do is you can just push that plate onto the chain, and it will go on a small amount. You won't be able to push it all the way in. Just enough for it to sit in position. So again, what we're going to use is this tool again on the chain. But we're going to use it slightly differently this time. As you can see quite clearly now, we've put the joining link through. We've got an X ring on either side of that, and we've put the outer plate. It's just sitting there, ready to accept the tool. Now what I didn't cover actually a minute ago was it's quite handy if you can measure the distance of the existing plate, so you've got a good idea that when you press it together, if it's in to the right depth. So I've got it set up with a vernier gauge. That's what that should be to. So when that's together, this should be exactly the same. I've actually even used a micrometer, because I have one of them, and I've got it even more accurate with a micrometer. So I know exactly what it should be to get it to this exactly same distance on these plates once I've driven it in. So what I want to do is to actually move this down to the bottom. About there, that's fine. We want to put this plate round the opposite side, and we want to, you'll see there's 2 holes in here, and either side of the actual hole, there's 2 indentations. You want them, the opposite side of these 2 link pins to sit into these 2 indentations. And you can feel it locking in, that's perfect. And then you want to sit it on position A, because you want the pin to be driven through right onto the centre of that plate, so it will push it dead straight. So it's a case of putting on the outer pit and putting it to position A, and then we want to put this in. It goes in with this hole here, because that's where the pin goes into, and that's the side where the plate is. So again, put this in place, and you feel it locking onto the pin, and then basically screw this in gently. Till it all locks in. And at this point, just make sure everything is absolutely spot on. It's definitely in position A. The chain is all locked in. The chain is sitting central in the tool. Yeah, it looks good. So at this point now, it's a case that we can actually drive that plate in. We can push the plate in. It should go in really easily. Nope. Wee fraction. It's almost there. I suppose if you've done this quite a lot of times, you'll get a feel for it and you'll be quite good at it, but I've not done this many times. feels like it's tight now. It doesn't really, I don't want to force it anymore. I think that will be it. Yeah, that's it. This is going in, so I'm definitely not putting it any further in. Okay, so now just remove the tool for the moment. So that's perfect with that, and absolutely spot on with the micrometer. That is perfect, absolutely perfect. So it's again, it's a case of putting this pin back into the tool, but you don't need the plate this time. But there is a slight difference. What we do is when we're using it this time, is we're going to use plate section B to put it on, not A, because you're moving the tool over slightly. So it's a case of, once again, basically putting the locking tool back on the same time so it locks up onto the back of the chain. But in position B, you'll see, instead of the tool being in the centre where it would drive the plate in, it's moving it over to the side which is going to line up with the pin, which is exactly where you want it to be. So I'll put this on and put it onto position B, and then drive it in, make sure the pin locks on dead square. You don't want it to be off at all. That's it, it's dead in line with the pin. So again, spanners back on again. And we just tighten it up just gently until you feel it where it doesn't really want to go any further. The pin isn't touching the plate, so you can see that it's still got a bit to go. So I think that'll be it. You can see the difference between there, which is practically on it, and this one, which is moving a huge amount. It has definitely compressed it in. Okay, happy with that. So the next stage is to do the second pin. And again, we'll offer the tool up so that it's covering it, and screw the into that. Just tighten it up a bit. Make sure it's all in line, which it is. So we know it needs quite a wee bit to screw in. So I'll screw it in. A good bit this time. Feels as if it doesn't want to go any further. Yeah, that looks pretty good, I would say. And it's not jamming at all, it's loose. I just went the other way and checked the chain on my Bonneville, because I know that it's got a gold DID chain, and I just put this wee tool onto it, and I know it was professionally fitted, and just moving exactly the same as that. So yeah, I'm happy that that's it, perfectly on. Give it a wee wiggle, and as you can see, it's all nice and free to move. Yeah, perfect. So it now has a nice, brand spanking new chain, and it just runs beautifully. Just out of curiosity, just wanted to check that they've not been compressed in too far. And that is hitting, fitting the micrometer just perfectly. Absolutely perfect. So that's the new chain fitted on the bike. And confession time, that's the first time I've ever done that job. I did buy the wee spring clip, which is they used to use in old-fashioned bikes as well, which, well, it came with the pack. You had the option of using the wee spring clip or the compressing it in. But yeah, and I thought, well, you know, the wee spring clip would be fine because it's the power in this bike is the same as it used to be, the wee bikes that we always ran with. But I thought, no, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to fit that chain properly. So yeah, it's now on. It's on. And I promise I'll look after it a bit better. In fact, I'm going to go further than that. Months ago actually, I bought a new Scott oiler, basically to put on the Bonneville. It's got an X system, and I've got an X system on the Tiger, and I love it. It's a fantastic tool. Just the chain just gets oiled, and you hardly ever have to adjust the chain. It's just a fantastic bit of kit. And now thinking of some of the wee adventures I'm going to do in this wee bike, I thought, you know, I'm going to put the Scott oiler onto this, and I might maybe later buy another one and put on the Bonneville. So yeah, and another upcoming video, we're going to fit the Scott oiler onto this wee bike, and that will help to keep the chain nice and lubricated, and hopefully that chain will last the life of this bike for me. But who knows. Anyway, for now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.